one.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're convening the Committee on Transportation and Culture and the Arts here in conference room 224 at the State Capitol. We have two agendas this afternoon, 3 o'clock and 3:01. We do understand there are some testifiers here who are going to have to leave, so it's all right with everyone. We'll take a set of measures out of order. So what we're going to do is open our 3:01 agenda, and we're going to move to the last measure on the agenda, SCR 73 and SR 65, requesting DOT to conduct an assessment on implementing higher levels of commercial general liability insurance for the aviation industry, so that these folks can testify and be on their way. Okay, so testifying on SCR 73 and SR 65 is Blue Hawaiian Helicopters. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Quinn Koch, President for Blue Hawaiian. Thank you for having us here today. On behalf of Blue Hawaiian, I took on this role about 4 years ago to become the president for Blue. Coming from the airline world, always working every single day to be safer and safer. We've tried different ways, partnering with different operators to enhance safety in our community, and have been unsuccessful. My dad was an insurance salesman, and I just remember as a kid kind of always learning insurance, and way to get lower premiums is to find ways to be safer and reduce your risk. Insurance does that naturally, and Blue Hawaiian has the best safety systems of any of the operators out here. We have one of the higher premiums, if not the highest premium in the state. And to maintain those premiums, we have to continually invest in technology, sending our pilots to simulator training, putting crash resistant fuel tanks in. And that's not the state driving that. That is our insurance operators doing that. So we do think a way to make safer for all of our residents, all of our guests, all of our visitors is to increase insurance. So we fully support this resolution. We do have the technical expertise. If there's anything that you guys have questions on, we are happy to help. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Up next is Air Methods on Zoom. Mr. Downey, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Hi, thank you. I'm the Vice President of Safety at Air Methods, of which Blue Hawaiian is a subsidiary of. As in the insurance industry, the aviation industry is one successful flight at a time, and it's done so by managing a plethora of risks associated with the industry. While managing the risks, it's really about strategies based on an equation of likelihood and probability factored against severity. And we can come at that from two different directions. We either lower the likelihood of a situation occurring, or we lower the severity of the outcome. And it's literally lost in a proactive manner, with continuous improvement and innovations that defeat the hazards of Mother Nature, laws of physics, and to be honest, Murphy's Law itself. There's a couple ways that that's done, either through innovation. We do that internally by continuously looking to improve. Obviously, that takes vision, it takes investment, it takes resources. And then we also work with our insurance underwriters to look where we can work together to do things as enhance our systems, such as our simulators and other aspects of safe operations that have been induced into the rotor wing industry, such as crash-resistant fuel systems, crash-resistant seats, and night vision goggles and night vision instrument systems, innovative systems, I should say. At Air Methods, we are 100% outfitted with night vision goggles and systems in our aircraft, and we have been that way since 2011 to 2012. While the requirement for the FAA was discussed probably a decade earlier, it still has been mandated, but we felt it was very important to do that. Again, with the crash-resistant fuel systems, which has proven their worth, we have been completely outfitted in our aircraft, and that proved prudent last year when we had 4 events that, in the likelihood of not having those systems aboard, probably would have ended up in a post-crash fire sequence more than likely, and not the successful outcome that we were able to obtain. In those events, prior events, not just with Air Methods, but within the emergency medical service, especially with the helicopters and fixed wing, everything from the innovations of MVGs, crash resistant fuel systems, crash resistant seats, and other aspects. Again, we work very closely with our insurance underwriters.
We just ask you to summarize, please.
Yes, to look at, again, innovative ways and to look at things such as cooperation through bursaries to supplement some of our investments, which again have all proven successful. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next on SR 73 and SR 65 is Aeroplex. You with us on Zoom this afternoon? IT?
Sorry, Chair, they're currently not on Zoom.
Okay. They're in support, and we have Eric Hamp. Good afternoon.
Hi, my name is Eric Hamp. Good afternoon, Senators. Thanks for taking the time and allowing us to come in and speak. Again, I'm Eric Hamp. I'm the current Director of Operations for Blue Hawaiian Helicopters. I'm here on an individual basis. I've been in the aviation community and aviation field for 20 years. I spent 7 years flying in the Army, and I've been flying with Blue Hawaiian since then. I moved through the roles as a tour pilot, as Director of Safety, and now I'm the Director of Operations. I'm currently a resident on Maui. I've been there for 13 years. My wife's born and raised there. Very involved in the community there and very much concerned with the community. So I spend a lot of time in my job engaging with community members through either individual phone calls, or I've been in a lot of community meetings to talk about noise and safety and just kind of where the aircraft fly. And with that, we also engage the community a lot through meetings with our pilots and with pilots from the other companies. And as Quentin mentioned, we've had a little bit of difficulty with that over the last couple of years. But I'm here just kind of as a technical expert in support of the resolution as well. So if any questions or things of that nature come up in regarding helicopter safety, noise, community relations with us, that's what I'm here for.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
That's all the testimony we have on these measures this afternoon. Is there anyone else wishing to testify? All right,
I
if
have a question.
not,
Yeah.
Vice Chair.
Yeah, maybe, is that Kurt? Were you the last one?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, come up, please. So with the safety equipment and the warning systems, just a question, if the helicopter that Kobe Bryant was in, would they have probably not been in that accident if, and I'm not sure if I understand the helicopter did not have necessary safety systems or whatever. Is that true?
There were equipment issues that could have been helpful for sure. Another aspect of higher insurance rates has to do with some of the processes you can put in place, like a safety management system program, which, you know, our safety management system program, we've had it since 2015. It's the only one in the state that's certified by the FAA on a voluntary basis. And with those types of systems, you mitigate the types of risks.
Sure.
And you address them through programs like, for example, Q-based training, which deals a lot with weather, which that event very much was involved with weather. And what we teach our pilots through that program and through the mitigations we've come up with through that program are complete avoidance.
Oh, okay.
If you come anywhere near that, you turn around, you go back. And avoidance is not something that's really pushed as much as it should be. It really should be the thing. If it's there, turn around, don't go near it.
So did I hear that a Blue helicopter is the only one with this safety equipment, or I guess the management system programs that you've been through, and the others don't?
So they have aspects of them, and yes, some of them have what would be called a safety management system for sure. Ours is the only one, however, that the FAA has accepted and certified. We went through that process with them, and we were one of the first helicopter companies in the nation to complete that process in 2015. So since then, some other companies have begun it and put some things in place, but we still are the only ones that have a fully functioning one. Yes.
Surely in FAA, it's not a mandatory program.
It is for the large air carriers like United Airlines, the FAR 121 carriers all have to have that. The 135 companies do not, it's voluntary. However, the FAA just put out an NPRM, a notice of rulemaking, it's going to require companies of our size to have it. And fortunately, we already have it, so we're already well ahead of that game.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Welcome.
Other questions? All right, if not, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
For the committee's indulgence to take that out of order for the testifiers. So with that, let's go back to our original 3 p.m. agenda to HB 110 relating to license plates, the proposed Senate draft. And testifying first on 110 is Honolulu Police Department. In opposition, although I think that's to the original language in the bill. Good afternoon.
Aloha, Chair Lee and Vice Chair Inouye. Major Stason Tanaka from HPD's Traffic Division. Yes, we are in opposition of this bill, which proposes the use of the diacritical markings for Hawaiian words, as we believe it will affect the readability of the license plate, especially at a distance. In addition, the license plates can also be used in other states where certain markings may not be recognizable. I know the DCS mentioned in their testimony that the AMVAR or AAMVA is not opposed to graphics on the plates, and they mentioned the Okina. For example, in the word Hawai'i, the Okina is used for the vanity plates, and the plate number is not recognized as, like, for example, Hawaii without the Okina. Well, my concern is for the kahako, because it is my understanding is to get the kahako in, like for example, over the O, you're going to have to make the O smaller, or else the kahako is going to be going into the aloha or Hawaii word that's on the top of the plate, which cannot be removed. So that being said, I know they state 249-9.1 special number plates. But if you look at HRS 249-9, which talks about the number plates, it talks about the numerals on all such plates shall be not less than 3 inches in height. So 3 inches in height is basically what we have right now on our plates. So if you're going to lower that height to make room for the kahako, is that going against that 249-9? That's another concern that I have. The third concern is right now we are still in testing to see if it's compatible with our current technologies, namely the ALPR, or the automatic license plate readers. So we're testing it right now, and I haven't gotten the results back whether these plates with kahakos or Okinas are going to be compatible with such technologies. So until I can be certain that it is, I would refrain from passing this bill.
Okay,
thank you
very much.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. And I'll just note for the testifiers and other folks watching, there's a proposed draft for this bill, which changes some of the substance of the bill to focus on creating a new special license plate based on what an earlier Senate draft of another bill had done. So that being said, let's move on to next testifier, City and County of Honolulu Ocean Safety. What's that? Oh, Mr. Tichin in support. Outrigger Tukahanamoku Foundation. Good afternoon.
Hello, I'm Sarah Fairchild. I'm the executive director of the Outrigger Tukahanamoku Foundation. I think I testified with all of you earlier in the session about supporting this bill. Not to go far into repeating myself, but the nature of the bill is to raise money for grants for water safety. And even though most of us in this room have the privilege of having a relationship with the ocean, there are a lot of people in Hawaii that do not. I personally know of kids in Kalihi that are in high school that have never been to the beach. I know of foster children that don't own a bathing suit. And I know of kids on the east side that at fourth grade age, if they fell into a body of water, may not be able to save themselves. So I think these are the kind of purposes this grant would be used to start to fund. There are a lot of nonprofits across our state that are already doing work like this in small increments, and this would just help expand their programming. And I wanted to update you that since I last met with you, the Duke Foundation has formed a coalition with a few other groups, including the various heads of the ocean safety across the state, Ohana Ocean Safety and the Hawai'i Aquatics Foundation and others. We're planning a high-level leadership conference on water safety this summer that we're going to invite you to. And we're also starting to work on a statewide ocean safety or water safety plan, because it covers more than the ocean, in line with the national water safety plan that's being published this summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Testifying next is Ikaika Hawai'i in support, Servco Pacific in support, Hawai'i Aquatics Foundation in support, Kenneth Berger in support, and we have additional supportive testimony from Hawai'i Aquatics Foundation and Ocean Safety Ohana, and about a dozen individuals, all in support. Is there anyone with us here today wishing to testify in this measure or on Zoom? All right, if not, are there questions?
Yeah, Sarah. And understanding it's more raising funds for the educational purposes that you indicated. So you're not really, or the group, the foundation is not too much concerned about having to use the diacritical markings then?
No, we're not.
Okay, because it's, I guess, when we did the Hokulia plates approval, there was no request to do that as well. So, okay, it's good to know.
No, we're not. And just on the topic of license plates, I have heard that there is an interest in the license plate collectors community for this kind of plate. I don't know what that involves from the government side to sell those to individuals that aren't going to use them on their car,
Yeah.
but that could be another source of revenue.
Okay, just a question. Also, Stacen Tanaka, PD, are you still on Zoom?
Yes, ma'am. I'm still with you.
Will there be any impacts, or, now that we have our traffic, our red light camera system, I wonder what the pickup would be like with regards to what we're doing now at the red light camera system, and how it projects the license plate.
The red light camera system takes a photo of the violator's rear license plate, and I've seen it. It's a pretty clear photo that can be easily read. So that
There wouldn't be any impacts then?
No.
Okay, all right.
Not in my opinion, no.
All right, thank
Okay.
you.
Any further questions? If not, thank you, everybody. All right, let's move. That's the only measure on our 3 p.m. agenda. So let's move to our 3:01 p.m. agenda. Keeping in mind, we already took the last measure out of order. So beginning at the start with SCR 7 and SR 5, urging the city and county of Honolulu to improve access, the bus in Oahu's rural communities. Testifying first is DCAB in support, and Jun Shin in support. That's all the testimony we have on these two measures. Is there anyone else here wishing to testify? Oh, please come forward. Good afternoon.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and the Transportation Committee. Angela Melody Young testifying in strong support. The bus is the public bus transportation service on Oahu. In 2021, the bus provided for over 33 million people, or about 120,000 people each day as of the third quarter of 2022. And as of 2022, its fleet comprised of 518 buses and 207 paratransit vehicles, providing transit on 103 routes. The bus is privately managed by the nonprofit Oahu Transit Services, Inc., which operates the system under a public-private partnership with the City and County of Honolulu's Department of Transportation Services. Rural communities need bus access to better support, the farmers and the people who are out in the rural areas. So therefore, we are in support of this measure. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to testify on this measure, please come forward. If not, are there any questions? All right, if not, thank you. Let's move on to the next set of measures, SCR 33 and SR 27, urging the counties to implement and enforce regulations that ensure car sharing services and operations do not negatively impact the traffic, parking, and character of residential neighborhoods. And testifying first is Turo with comments. And that's all the testimony we have. Is there anyone else wishing to testify this afternoon? If not, any questions of nobody asked questions of? Okay, let's move on to SCR 145, SR 136, requesting DOT to study the feasibility and advisability of eliminating the state's safety inspection requirements for motor carrier vehicles. Testifying first on 145 is Department of Transportation. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair and Vice Chair, members of the committee. I'm Robin Chishido with the State DOT, and we stand by our testimony submitted for your purposes.
Thank you. Up next is Hawai'i Transportation Association comments, Grassroot Institute of Hawai'i with comments, and Andrew Crossland in support. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in this measure? Please come forward.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and the Transportation Committee, Angela Melody Young, testifying to provide comments on behalf of CARES. And, safety inspections ensure that all cars on the road adhere to a minimum safety standard, particularly, if it's when it comes to like steering, suspension, brakes, tires, because vehicle components are key to safety, according to the National Highway Safety Administration. 35% of all motor vehicle crashes can be attributed to a vehicle component's failure, particularly tires or wheels. Another 22% are related to brakes. And consider that as vehicles age, their failure rates increase. Vehicles manufactured in 2009 or earlier have a 29% chance of a component failure. Knowing that the average age of vehicles today is 11.9 years and getting older, that should probably be enough to reasonably be concerned about keeping vehicle inspections mandatory and current to ensure the safety of the public. So South Carolina and Mississippi eliminated their safety inspection program in 1995 and 2015 respectively. And the result was that two states had the highest traffic deaths per 100,000 in population in America So therefore, it should be for consideration that there could be more study about the feasibility instead of just implementing it. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify this afternoon? All right, if not, are there any questions? Real quick, DOT. Thanks. This particular measure focuses on commercial motor carrier vehicles. Is that right?
Correct.
If we switched it to focusing on sort of the broader population of passenger vehicles, is that something that you guys would be supportive of?
Yes, the DOT would support that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You're supporting elimination?
Well, supporting the study of it to see if it's
the study.
advisable.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
supporting
All
the
right.
study of it.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, everyone. Let's move on to the next measure, SR 74, requesting the Department of Transportation and all county transportation departments to install designations of do not block and related signage at high traffic intersections. Testifying first is DOT.
The DOT stands by its testimony submitted.
Thank you. That's all the testimony we have on 74. Is there anyone else wishing to testify? If not, are there any questions? If not, all right, thank you. Let's move on to SCR 59, SR 53, urging the state of Hawaii, City and County of Honolulu, federal entities, and private landowners to work together to immediately open the section of the Waianae Coast Emergency Access Road extending Pa'akea Road out to Lualualei Naval Road for public use on a permanent basis. Testifying first on this measure is Cynthia Resentes in support. And that's all the testimony we have. Is there anyone else wishing to testify? If not, there's no one to ask questions of, so let's move on to the next measure. SCR 31 and SR 25, urging the Department of Transportation to construct an all-way crosswalk along the cross streets of Kahuali'i Street, Waipio Point Access Road, and Farrington Highway. And testifying first is Facilities Development Branch, on behalf of Mr. Osaguro. Good afternoon.
Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, we are in strong support of this motion. We think student safety is of a priority for the Department of Education, and it's a critical area that we have high traffic. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Testifying next is Ulupono Initiative in support. That's all the testimony we have. Is there anyone else wishing to testify this afternoon? Please come forward. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, and members of the committee. My name is Kayla Jerson. I'm a senior at Waipahu High School, and my testimony is in support of bills SR 25 and SCR 31. As a student who drives to and from school each day, I am well aware of the unsafe pedestrian conditions in front of the school. When driving in the mornings and afternoons, I tend to be scared of hitting pedestrians, even when driving cautiously and keeping alert at all times. The fear comes from the students often seen standing in the road because of overcrowding of the pedestrian islands. Furthermore, even though the walk symbol is not displayed, students continue to cross the street, blocking the road so cars can't pass, creating a gridlock. On the pedestrian side, when standing at the edge of the islands, I was scared of being pushed into the road by eager students waiting to cross the street. I think that these bills will help alleviate all of these problems, as well as reducing the amount of time it takes to cross the street. When having to cross a road, it once took me 15 minutes to get to the side I wanted to be on. This is because in order to get to the side where the bus stop is from the school, you have to use all three crosswalks at the intersection. Due to my personal experiences, I deeply urge the committee to take into consideration these bills for the betterment of both drivers and pedestrians at this intersection. Thank you for your time and this opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to testify? Please come forward. Good afternoon.
My name is Ronnie Richardson. I'm a current senior at Waipahu High School as well. My testimony today is to express my strong support for the bill. I have experienced the intersection as both a pedestrian and a driver. As a pedestrian, I've experienced being pushed into roadways in oncoming traffic due to overflowing islands, almost being struck due to yield violations, and the excessive time it takes to get from one place to another. As a driver, I've had to wait through multiple light cycles to move due to pedestrian blockage, pedestrians spilling into roadways and surrounding vehicles, as well as unpredictable jaywalking situations. On both occasions, the intersection is difficult and dangerous to traverse. If the bills are passed, multiple of these problems can be solved. All-walk crosswalks can make roadways safer for pedestrians and improve the flow of traffic. Multiple studies conducted have found that the implementation of all-walk crosswalks can reduce pedestrian crashes to up to 40% and reduce delays for drivers to up to 50%. Overall, I strongly believe that an all-walk crosswalk at this intersection is a necessary and beneficial addition to Waipahu's transportation infrastructure. I urge you to support the implementation of these crosswalks and prioritize the safety and convenience of our community. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Okay, anybody else here on this measure? Please come forward.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and the TCA Committee. Angela Melody Young testifying in strong support. Pedestrian safety at schools is a very crucial thing, and it is very vital to protect the students. One of the simple solutions to pedestrian safer driver safety is to install LED signs. So there was an innovative pilot program from the City of California, Lakewood, which accessed American Rescue Plan Act funds to implement these safety enhancements. And they also accessed the funds to hire an additional deputy sheriff dedicated to safety and enforcing laws for unsafe driving, speeding, running stop signs and lights, distracted drivers, and DUIs. So it can be for consideration that there are a lot of ways to manage that. So thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? If not, any questions? If no questions, thank you, everybody. Let's move on to the next set of measures, or the next measure, SR 38, requesting the Department of Transportation to evaluate certain IAA roadways and identify opportunities for improvement of traffic conditions and pedestrian safety. Testifying first on SR 38 is the Department of Transportation.
Good afternoon. The DOT stands by its testimony submitted.
Thank you very much. We have comments. That's all the testimony we have. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in this measure? If not, all right, any questions? If not, let's move on to the next measures, SCR 62 and SR 56, requesting the DOT to create a second access point from Whitmore Village via Saipan Road to Kamehameha Highway to alleviate traffic on Whitmore Avenue. Testifying first on this measure is the Department of Transportation. Thank you. And we also have testimony from Linda Sakamoto in support. That's all the testimony we have. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in this measure? If not, are there any questions? If not, thank you, everybody. Moving on to SCR 106, SR 95, urging the DOT and Department of Transportation Services of the city and county to construct elevated crosswalks along Mehe'ula Parkway near Mililani High School. Testifying first on 106 is DOT. Thank you. In support. And we also have Ulupono Initiative in support. That's all the testimony we have on these measures. Is there anyone else wishing to testify this afternoon? All right, if not, are there any questions? If not, let's move on to SCR 93 and SR 83, requesting DOT in coordination with Department of Transportation Services of the City and County of Honolulu to install speed bumps and other traffic calming structures on Aulani Street in Wanalua Valley and other surrounding streets deemed appropriate to deter speeding. Testifying first is DOT. Thank you. That is all the testimony we have on this measure. Is there anyone else wishing to testify? If not, are there questions? If not, thank you. Let's move on to SCR 53, SR 48, urging DOT and the city and county to conduct a feasibility study of widening the portion of University Avenue between Miley Way and Oahu Ave. Testifying first on this one. Actually have no testimony on this one. Is there anyone wishing to testify in this measure? If not, okay. Let's move on to SCR 170 and SR 128, urging DOT to establish a working group to evaluate options that provide additional air service to remote and underserved communities across the state. Up first is DOT. Thank you. Next is DCAB. Excuse me, yeah. In support. Hawaii Self Advocacy Advisory Council. I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah. State Council on Developmental Disabilities.
Good afternoon, Chair Lee and committee members. Zosimo Arista with Hawaii State Council on Developmental Disabilities for Executive Administrator Daintree Bartoldes. The State Council on Developmental Disability strongly supports SCR 170 SR 128, urging the Department of Transportation to establish a working group, evaluate options that provide additional air service to remote and underserved communities across the state, especially on the island of Molokai. Thank you for the opportunity to submit and provide testimony.
Thank you. Up next is Hawaii Self Advocacy Advisory Council. Support. We have additional support from about 6 folks and 1 person with comments. That's all the testimony we have on these measures. Is there anyone else here wishing to testify this afternoon? All right. Actually, on SR 128, we also have the Hawaii Tourism Authority. I don't know if that's correct or not. We can double check that. That said, anyone else? If not,
Question for DOT. Do you know if Molokai has the same services as the cooperation from FAA subsidizing Waimea on the Big Island?
Sorry, I need to check back with Victoria first.
Okay, but you know of what Waimea on Big Island has, the servicing and the additional grant program that we have via FAA to operate at at Waimea. But yeah, I remember one of the rules was that it has to be in an area where you're 40 miles, no coverage if you're 40 miles away from a municipal airport. So I would assume that Molokai would benefit probably because they don't have another airport yet. Because that was interesting because we got Kailua Kona, Keohole airport. But anyway, hopefully we can add Molokai to that service as well. Yeah, but it's a bidding process too, because it's a competition, yeah. So they put out the bidding, and I think it used to be competitive in Waimea, but now I think we ended up with just 1 carrier. Okay, but it's good if we could add that service to Molokai. Thank you.
any further questions? If not, thank you. For the record, we already heard the final set of measures on the agenda, SCR 73 and SR 65. So that wraps up our 3:01 p.m. agenda. So why don't we?
Yep.
Okay, why don't we
Good
go
job.
straight into decision making here, beginning with our
You can do the defer first.
yeah.
Okay. Is that?
Oh, sorry, the 3 p.m. HB1.
That's the one. Okay. All right.
Okay, going back to our 3 p.m. agenda, this was on House Bill 110 HD1 relating to license plates. We did have a proposed House draft here, which reflected, I think, an earlier measure that was passed out of the Senate committee on behalf of a couple of our colleagues. So we'd like to recommend moving this forward with amendments, which would be adopting the proposed House draft. Any discussion? If not, Vice Chair.
Okay. Chair's recommendation to pass HB 110 House Draft 1 with amendments. Okay, Vice Chair for the vote, Chair Lee. Okay, Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Elefante.
Aye.
Senator Keho Kalole.
Aye.
Okay, Senator Awa.
Aye.
Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So that closes out our 3 o'clock agenda. We'll move back to our 3:01 p.m. agenda. Up first is, let's see. Should be SCR 7 and SR 5.
Yeah. I need this. Okay.
Okay, up first is SCR 7 and SR 5. Recommendation is to pass as is.
Oh, 1 second. Hold on. Here we are.
Both of
Oh,
them.
yeah, that's right, yeah. Okay.
Recommendation is to pass as is. Any discussion? Not, Vice Chair.
Okay, Chair's recommendation to pass SCR 7 and SR 5 unamended. Okay, with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to SCR 33 and SR 27. We'd like to move this along, but making one amendment, which would just also urge the counties to limit the number of rideshare cars parked on public streets in appropriate, or as may be appropriate, depending on the street and neighborhood. Discussion? Not Vice Chair.
Chair's recommendation on SCR 33 and SR 27 to pass with amendments, with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes.
No vote.
Okay. Thank you. Measure is adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to SCR 145 and SR 136. I'd like to pass this with amendments. Based on the discussion with Department of Transportation, we'd like to shift the focus to passenger vehicles here. So we'll be asking the DOT to study the feasibility and advisability of eliminating safety checks, or excuse me, safety inspection requirements for passenger vehicles. Any discussion? If not, Vice Chair.
Chair's recommendation on SCR 145 and SR 136 to pass with amendments, with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Okay. Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to SR 74. Recommendation to pass as is. Any discussion? If not, Vice Chair for the vote.
Okay, no SCRs here. On this
Just the SR.
What was the recommendation?
Pass as is.
That is- Chair's recommendation on SR 74 is to pass unamended with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Hearing none, measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to SCR 59 and SR 53. Recommendation to pass as is. There's no discussion. Vice Chair.
Chair's recommendation to pass SCR 59 and SR 53 as unamended with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to SCR 31 and SR 25. Recommendation to pass as is. Oh,
Just some brief comments. I used to represent this area on the city council, so I just want to acknowledge the students from Waipahu High School for being here and taking the time to submit testimony and support, and acknowledge the presence of Representative Corey Chun. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
all right. Thank
Chair's
you very
rec-
much.
Okay. Chair's recommendation to pass SCR 31, SR 25, and that's unamended with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Hearing none, Mr. Chair, measure is adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to SR 38. Recommendation to pass as is. There's no discussion. Vice Chair for the vote.
Okay. Chair's recommendation on SR 38 is to pass unamended with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Hearing none, Mr. Chair, measure is adopted.
Thank you. On SCR 62 and SR 56, recommendation is to pass with amendments, adopting the DOT suggestion that the resolutions also call on the DOD to work with the DOT on the access road in question. Any discussion? If not, Vice Chair.
Okay. With Chair's recommendation on SCR 62 and SR 56 is to pass with amendments with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Hearing none, measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. On SCR 106 and SR 95, recommendation to pass as is. Any discussion? If not, Vice Chair.
Chair's recommendation on SCR 106 and SR 95 is to pass unamended with 5 members present. Is anyone voting with reservations? Any no votes? Hearing none, Chair Lee, sorry about that. Measure is adopted.
Thank you. On SCR 93 and SR 83, recommendation to pass as is. There's no discussion. Vice Chair for the vote.
93 and 86.
83. You voted in wrong right there.
Okay, and 86. Yeah, here.
Oh.
93 and 86.
Oh, weird. Mine
Where are
says-
we?
Mine says 83 over here.
93. This is 93.
9386.
93, 86, yeah. That's okay, it's only that paper. This is
Yeah.
more official. We think. Okay, which one is correct?
No, it looks pretty official over here too, but we'll
Okay.
go with 86.
Okay,
Recommendation passed as is.
all right, but we'll do both.
Yes.
Okay, Chair's recommendation to pass SCR 93 and SR 86 unamended with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Hearing none, measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Moving on to SCR 53, SR 48. Seeing no testifiers on this measure, why don't we go ahead and defer? Moving on to SCR 170 and SR 128. Recommendation is to pass as is.
Chair's recommendation to pass SCR 170 and SR 128 unamended with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Hearing none, Mr. Chair, measure is adopted.
Thank you. And finally, moving to SCR 73 and SR 65, recommendation is to pass as is. If there's no discussion, Vice Chair for the vote.
Chair's recommendation to pass SCR 73 and SR 65 unamended with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate the
Good job.
patience. We are adjourned.